Good evening. Welcome to the program. I am delighted to have with me in the studio Brady Wingheart, who's going to be talking about Nomenus and Wolf Creek. You've got some major issues facing Wolf Creek and Nomenus, and we're going to be asking what are those issues and what are the new directions you'll be heading. And we'll be opening up the phone lines later on in the show so you can call in with questions and comments. So Brady Wingheart, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. It's truly a pleasure.
Well, I have to first ask you, what is Wolf Creek?
Oh my God! Ask one person what is Wolf Creek. You'll get 1,000 different answers. I can answer for myself.
Go ahead.
To me, Wolf Creek is a magical place, an amazing place where all of these different opinions and lives come into an amazing confluence. And sometimes it can be a hairy container. Sometimes it can be very challenging. Sometimes it can, but mostly it's a place of love and a place of growth.
In what way?
Well, people come there changed. I mean, when people come to Wolf Creek, they come from all over the country. They come from Portland. They come from San Francisco. They come from all these different places, and they seek sanctuary. And we're the only sanctuary of our kind on the West Coast. We're a place that serves a unique magic, and it calls to everyone. It calls to, well, most people. Well, it calls to everyone. It calls to everyone in their own way, and I can't imagine anyone coming away from that sanctuary being a little changed.
You mentioned it's on the West Coast. Where exactly is
Wolf
it?
Creek, Oregon is just outside of Grants Pass, Oregon, which is about 4 hours south of Portland, 8 hours north of here. Exit 76, Highway 5.
Here, of course, you mean San Francisco.
Yes,
right? Is
San
this
Francisco.
like San Francisco's own fairy sanctuary?
I would hesitate to say that. I would say that it is everyone's sanctuary. It was Nomenus, the organization that owns and manages Wolf Creek, was founded in San Francisco, and a lot of our work, administrative work, happens here.
So what is Nomenus then?
Oh, what is Nomenus? Nomenus was formed in 1986 to actually purchase the land that we have, Wolf Creek Sanctuary, because of the spiritual gathering of Radical Faeries in 1981 in Denver. So many people wanted to have that experience again, what it was like to be in faggot-only space, what it was like to have that, and to try to do that again was very difficult. People had to go to national parks. They had to rent different facilities, and you could never be yourself.
So let me ask you then, faggot-only space where you could be yourself. What was it that they were experiencing that you want to duplicate or trying to duplicate?
Well, that's what they experienced at the first spiritual gathering of Radical Faeries. They didn't have to lie. They could be fairies. They could wear drag. They could wear skirts. They could be faggots for the first time in 1981. That was an amazing feeling. And over the next 5 years, they would try to replicate it in different state parks and things like that. But again, they were being watched by rangers and not having any real freedom to express their newly found faggoty magic nature. And so they founded Nomenus. They came together, created a church in 1986, which was an odd choice, but it's been very helpful to us.
So Nomenus is a church.
It's actually a church, founded as a church. We are officially the Church of Nomenus. And we had some great leaders. Bradley Rose wrote a book called Nomenus Talks to the IRS, where it details our struggle to be a church, to be recognized as an official organization, but eventually in 1986 we won, and were allowed to be a church, which went on to buy Wolf Creek Sanctuary.
So you mentioned that it's a church, and it's located in Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are there? Is it open all year?
It is open all year right now. We'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Yes, the sanctuary is open all year round. We have now we have 3 stewards there. We have Anu, Aka, and Dallas. They're doing a fantastic job keeping the land together. They're actually winterizing the place. And those are the people. Our stewards are the ones that keep the land open for our visitors and our guests.
I see. So if I was going to go to Wolf Creek, what would I see? In fact, I know what I'm going to see because I have some slides. So let's take a look at some slides.
Let's look.
Okay, so here we are at the exit of Wolf Creek, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is in Oregon. You
Yes.
get to it off of Highway 5.
Mm-hmm.
And what are we looking at here?
That looks like the men's gathering. That is around. That's one of our circles. That's dinner circle where I believe we're blessing the food, and that's in our barn, which needs a new roof.
And so this is a large space that
Yes.
has kitchens adjacent to it?
The land has several buildings on it. It has Garden House, Teresa Halston, Deer House, Garden House, and the barn. And the barn is an immense building in which we have our summer kitchen. Our winter kitchen is usually in Garden House because it's much smaller, but that is our summer kitchen in the barn.
So how many buildings are actually on the land, would you say?
About 5 or 6 standing buildings. You can't see them very well in that picture. That's the meadow staring out from, I believe that's from the Beltane Meadow looking out toward Garden House, which is buried behind those trees.
I see. So you've got quite a lot of acreage
We have
there.
80 acres. That's Grandmother Maple. She's several hundred years old. One of the oldest trees in the area.
I heard she was something on the order of 300
She's
years
300 years old, and she's sick. She needs some help. She's seen arborists. I believe she needs some shots.
I see. And this is courtesy of Comfort and Joy,
Well, actually, I
believe,
believe
no?
Zach Benfield made that.
Okay.
It's a fantastic. It's one of. It was. I believe that was last year's invitation to the spiritual gathering of Radical Faeries, which we have every year.
I see. And I see on the upper left-hand corner, welcome home.
Welcome home. That's what we say to people because that's how we want it to be for people. So many people need a home. So many of us travel this world without a home, and it's good to have a place that faggots can call home.
I have to say, I actually been to Wolf Creek precisely once,
Mm-hmm.
and the first time I got there after being in the back of a van for about 14 hours, driving past Mount Shasta and the whole rigmarole, somebody comes running out and arms outstretched and go, welcome home. And here am I in the middle of nowhere, I'm going, I am terrified by this situation. So, but you actually make it quite welcoming. I mean, tell me how you managed to achieve that. I mean,
Well, I think it's the love. I think it's the sharing and what Oscar established when he got there. We've had caretakers for many years that have worked so hard to make everyone feel welcome. And then that spreads to our community. And our community, not just our stewards, but our community chips in so beautifully and helps us create and remember that fact that we are coming home, that we are creating a home for everyone to go to.
now you mentioned Nomenus. How does that relate to Wolf Creek?
Nomenus is the organization that was created to kind of manage and own that land. And so basically what we do is we're the interface. We pay the taxes, the bills, set up the accounts, set up the checking accounts, make sure there's enough money, do the fundraising. And Nomenus is the administrative side.
I see. And you mentioned in fact, I found out just today you put out a call for support.
Yes.
And so let's talk about that.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to. We've had some very successful gatherings. We've had some challenging times. And although our gatherings have been successful, they haven't given us the funds we need to really keep the sanctuary open through the winter. It costs about $3,000 to run the sanctuary, to have the sanctuary function well during the months. And right now, we only have enough money to go until December 15th. So I'm encouraging, and that's true. I mean, that's not hyperbole. It's December 15th. And we're asking people to go to our website at nomenus.org /donate.
Right.
And please, no amount is too small. $1, $5. I mean, this is our NPR picture, ladies and gentlemen. Anything you can give, because it's time for our community to actually, I ask our community to show us the value that you feel in your sanctuary and to give accordingly to that value.
So these new directions that you're talking about, what kind of directions will you be going in?
Well, it's been really exciting. This last Great Circle, we came to a lot of decisions. In winter, we asked a bylaws committee to prepare a new set of bylaws, or look at our old bylaws and see how they were serving us, and if they were not, to suggest changes. So we've actually gone ahead and done that. And so over the next year, what we're going to be doing is having salons in local cities to discuss those bylaws and issues that concern people about the church, Wolf Creek, and other issues that face our membership and community. We'll be starting out the discussion, I believe, with some things about, as we discuss membership, which is a hot topic for everyone.
In what way?
Well, I mean, of course, we're not going to put the elephant right in the room, and it talks about the membership policy, which in 1999 was added to be a gay-identified man as a member of the church. And there's been a lot of disagreement around that, and again, that's nothing that I can decide. That's more something for the membership to decide, but one thing that I feel is more important is that the membership come together right now and address that concern of the larger community.
And how does the membership decide these things? I mean, do you have a board of directors?
Well, the members are the board of directors, actually, and we get together twice a year for what we call a Great Circle. And during that Great Circle is basically a collective board meeting run through consensus process. And that's where we make the larger decisions, like how much approve a budget. Are we going to fix the portraits of Teresa? And we can if you give us money. Are we going to do that? Are we going to fix the portraits of Teresa? Are we going to get this and get this? And that's the kind of thing that we decide. And also, are we going to change our bylaws, or the things that we decide at Great Circles? They can be very small focused or very large focused.
Now, we were actually talking just a little bit before the show, and you mentioned that some of the methods that you now use as part of Nomenus, you're getting from Occupy SF and Occupy Wall Street. Tell me more a little bit about that.
Well, I was really, I was watching some interviews with the Occupy movement, and what I found was interesting was that we were practicing the same consensus model. That at our great circle, and listening to how the General Assemblies are working, we use the same techniques, temperature check, is it cold, all those things, process point. All the things that we see that are using so effectively in the Occupy movement. And there was an article that I read where they were saying that the Occupy movement isn't good because it doesn't have leaders. But I can't disagree more, because if it wasn't, and it's the consensus process that makes it easy, that makes everyone be able to pick it up and use it in their city. It's obviously an effective model because there's an Occupy everywhere. And we model our same consensus process as they use there.
Now, when I was actually putting together the blurb for this show, I was thinking, okay, one's related to Occupy Wall Street or Occupy Everywhere. And my original thinking was, what could they learn from Nomenus and Wolf Creek? So I put the question to you. What do you think they could learn?
I would think that we would like to share probably the spiritual part of life. I think that, and also, and it seems to me that even despite the criticisms of Nomenus, at least at our last Great Circle, our last board meeting, I felt like we were very inclusive. To me, when I still saw the representatives of the Occupy movement, it still didn't feel like there was a lot of diversity in there. So I feel like maybe they could learn from our queer diversity.
It's a very interesting point. I'm actually going to open up the lines now to 415-861-6648 if you wish to call in with questions, concerns, comments to Brady aka Wingheart. Please go ahead and do so. Look forward to hearing your calls. So let's talk about inclusiveness with Occupy SF. I know that they're working out to reaching out to the most disadvantaged of people, in the sense of the homeless there, and this is all part of the 99%, our great society that we have. And I'm wondering, are there models that you could learn to get greater inclusiveness in the sanctuaries that you could learn?
Oh, I feel that we're working that direction certainly right now. After the participation that was so strong from women and transgendered people in our last Great Circle that we haven't seen before. This was one of the first times that we've had so many women participating and so many people that are transgendered participating, and it was exciting to have all of those different opinions in the room. I feel like we're moving toward that inclusivity and diversity.
I see. So we're talking, how do you feel how relevant is the sanctuary in today's world? I mean, your holidays aren't based on the traditional calendar of our Judeo-Christian world.
Right.
Do you think that adds perhaps a greater way of separating yourself?
Oh, I don't know. I think if anything, it challenges people to challenge themselves to find a new connectedness. Instead of relying on the things that you've been handed, perhaps it would be better to look at something that's been celebrated longer than Judeo-Christian society has done it, or perhaps looking at yourself in a new way, which is what the sanctuary allows.
So tell me about some of those holidays, some of those great occasions where you guys meet.
Well, there's a thing. Radical Faeries have a lot of things in common. Sanctuaries are one of them, and holidays are another. Our holidays usually at our sanctuaries are Beltane.
Which is when?
Beltane is always May 1st. It's always May 1st. May Day, that's when we have the maypole, fantastic dances, amazing costumes, amazing love. A week of that, a week of celebration, and it's a different kind of celebration, and it's a little off time. It's a little bit better. I think it challenges people to get out of their ruts. And then we also have Samhain, which is our mystic gathering celebrating our ancestors and our history.
Which is at what time of the year?
Halloween.
Halloween.
So it's the week around Halloween.
So it's not trick or treating, is it? Or is it?
Well, I mean, at Wolf Creek we do a lot of things. We have a libations night that's fantastic. We have a symbolic stag hunt that brings back the rituals, the wild hunt of old. We sit with our ancestors at night. We have we visit the altars to our loved ones, because we have several shrines all over the land of people that we've lost and loved, and we visit with them and we eat with them.
So instead of just going out there and begging food off strangers, you're actually communing with greater spirits.
Well, the veil is thinnest that night, and yes, and we're also communing with each other and holding each other through what we've lost. I mean, I think that most people that visit the land have lost somebody, either on the land or in their lives close to the land, and it really brings back those feelings to them, a feeling of home, to return where they were with their friends when they were all living.
So, as far as the sanctuary, how do you personally see the future going for Wolf Creek and Nomenus? What would you like to see happen?
Oh, what I would really like to see
Paint me your
happen.
dream.
What I would really like to see happen is earning $3,000 a month to keep the sanctuary functioning well.
And what would that allow you to do?
Well, that would allow us to at least pay our stewards and keep the lights on and keep everything just running at a bare minimum. If we were to receive $15,000 in additional money this year, we could also repair our roof and our buildings. I think that together, Nomenus has an opportunity to spread the message of love of Wolf Creek to other places, open up other sanctuaries, because the Church of Nomenus, as part of our bylaw revision, seeks to create new circles nationally. And you can do whatever you'd like with that circle. So you could take that circle, the framework that we have, and apply it to your own sanctuary. So you could open a sanctuary in another city, in a city or in a country location.
So you talk about Nomenus and circles. So this circle is a group of people that you have with a shared intent? I mean,
yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. And it could be about like 10 people that agree to follow the Nomenus mission, which Nomenus exists to create, preserve, and manage places of spiritual sanctuary for Radical Faerie and their friends to gather in harmony with nature for renewal, growth, and shared learning. And I feel like that is the mission of the sanctuary, and what Nomenus does, I feel like we fulfill that mission every day. And we would love to give that opportunity to other people in cities, especially because in San Francisco we're losing our fairy spaces. We're losing our gay spaces. We're losing our queer spaces nationwide, and it'd be great to give people an alternative.
I'm actually going to have you read that again.
Sure.
Slowly, so that everybody can get it.
You got it. Nomenus exists to create, preserve, and manage places of spiritual sanctuary for Radical Faeries and their friends to gather in harmony with nature for renewal, growth, and shared learning.
And if you get $15,000 by December the 15th, this will help you achieve some of this.
Yes, it will help us keep the gates open to have the sanctuary that people know and love. The thing is, like, without the $3,000 a month, the sanctuary cannot be drop-in. We have to make that clear to people. We need to have those funds, regardless of how people may have felt about Nomenus in the past, be it based on our membership requirement or based on any past history they may have had in what we in the group called Nama Drama. That we ask you to really look at the sanctuary again and look at Nomenus in a new way, because without that money, we really physically cannot keep the sanctuary open and running the way that people are used to seeing it.
So $3,000 a month. You have people living there full time, I take it. And how many visitors would you say you get?
Well, during the summer months, we get many. Like right now, I think there are about 10 people living there. We've had as many as 40 visitors in 25 days. So that's kind of an idea of what you get, like right around, I think that was a September number. So we get a lot of visitors. We get a lot of people going through there. And we also have a lot of people coming through without money. We're also not a FLOF. No one turned away for lack of funds. And that can be challenging because, like we said, that even though even though Wolf Creek is located in a remote location, people still hesitate to donate while they're there. And we really have to make it clear that, like, it's part of that donation and part of giving something while you're enjoying the sanctuary really helps us provide it for other people.
And I know from personal experience at other sanctuaries, people are a little reluctant to go up there with cap in hand and say, please give us your money.
Yes, it's terrifying for people.
It is, because they're not professional fundraisers who actually live there.
Right, and that's kind of what we're supposed to be doing. That's what we do as Nomenus.
I see. So basically it allows them to take care of the land and you take care of the business.
Yes, exactly.
So with Nomenus, then, it acts as an interface then between the sanctuary and the greater world.
Yeah, I mean that's basically Nomenus is the I think Oscar said Nomenus is, and this is a paraphrase. Nomenus is the mist that we go between this world and the sanctuary and the fairy world, and I feel like that's very true. That's all we do is we serve as that link, as that connection, so that we're, like as I said, we're the ones that open the bank accounts for people.
I see. Great. So how is Comfort and Joy involved in the Nomenus thing? Are they just an ancillary branch to help fundraising, or?
Well, no, Comfort and Joy is more than that. We've always felt like sister organizations, especially the last few years. In fact, we just became their fiscal sponsor for their scholarship program, and so that was very exciting. So now we're actually linked financially.
What does that mean?
Well, it just means that we open up a bank account that they can put their scholarship money in, so that they can send artists from Comfort and Joy to the Playa, buy tickets, to send people that don't have the money for a Burning Man ticket to the festival.
Great. Well, let's see. We're almost at the end of the show. We've got just about 2 minutes left. So I'd like to turn it over to you so that you could put
No.
out one more
One more
call
plug.
for money.
Okay.
Exactly, one more plug, and invite people in. Take it away.
Thank you. Well, I just want to say that I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to reach out and say thank you to everyone that is listening to this message. And I implore everyone that really values the sanctuary to look into your hearts and really understand right now that more than ever, Wolf Creek and Nomenus need your help. We ask that you donate generously, please, to nomenus.org/donate. That's a PayPal account. We can take $1, we can take $5. I'd also like people to really look at us, and I want to invite you back home. Come home, the water is really fine. We're testing it, it's really good. Please join a committee. Give me a call. We're available and we're here. And please donate at nomenus.org. Donate. Thank you.
Well, sorry to put you on the spot just
No,
now.
it's
I think you
fine.
did a marvelous
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you very much indeed. Actually, a friend of mine mentioned that he thought sanctuary was a place where you could experience the divine.
Oh, well, I'd have to say that if you go to Wolf Creek Sanctuary, you just experience it. You don't have to try to do it. Wolf Creek Sanctuary is one of the most divine places on earth.
The divine experiences you, perhaps.
Yes, well, yes, exactly. You look back at the divine through yourself.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show. You can
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and thank you, Brady
It's been a pleasure.
Wingheart, for being on the show.
It's a pleasure.
And thank you for watching. You can actually see episodes of the program, including this one, on YouTube. Just type /TPWSL. That's the program with Stephen Leader up on your screen now. And see you next week on the show. Next week, I'm going to have David Goldman, who is who's associated with the core leadership of the Americans for Safe Access. We'll be discussing what Obama is doing to the pot industry, especially here in California. That's going to be an interesting
I'll be
subject.
watching.
So stay tuned. Thank you.